That's not necessarily the Nazi Holocaust. The Lebensraum dealt with the conquest of Eastern Europe. As a general rule, I'm not sure what's the point of studying history if you can't compare and contrast, because that seems to me the essence of history. Typical history question in high school. Compare and contrast the French and Russian revolutions. Compare and contrast the British and the French monarchy. Comparing and contrasting is the essence of history. So then to now suddenly say that when it comes to the Nazi Holocaust, nothing can be compared and nothing can be contrasted, and it suddenly becomes a case of Holocaust denial to even compare or contrast. Well, of course you're allowed to contrast, you're allowed to say nothing compares. That seems to me to turn what should be history into some sort of religion. You're just worshiping at some totem, and the totem is called the Holocaust.
Given this idea that the Holocaust is not doesn't give the Jewish people special dispensation, so to speak, is it fair to say that they're guilty of hypocrisy for, in the wake of the Holocaust, treating the Palestinians in the manner that they are? Or does the Holocaust exonerate them to a degree? Is there any?
I don't think any suffering you endure exonerates you or gives you the right to inflict suffering on others. That doesn't make any sense to me. The usual relationship is that it's supposed to sensitize you to other people's sufferings, not give you the right to abuse other people. That doesn't seem to make much sense to me. And I don't think I would say much beyond that.
On July 4th in 1946, in the Polish town of, I'm going to try and pronounce this correctly, Kielce, there was a pogrom where 37 Jews were killed, including many survivors of the death camps. The murders were instigated with the claim of the medieval claim of blood libel, this idea that Jews use the blood of Christian children in their rituals. And there were other acts of violence against the Jews in the post-war period, but the Kielce pogrom served, at least at the time, as a symbol for the necessity of a Jewish state. A lot of people who had returned to Poland and other parts of Europe used that as a reason. This is why we need a Jewish state. Do you think that Kielce and the subsequent conflicts between the Jews and the neighboring Arab states lend any legitimate credence to this idea that Israel and the Jews are eternal victims, that they have to have sort of a fortified state?
As I said, I think a reasonable person can make the argument that given what Jews endured during World War II would justify their claims on the state. I think you can make that argument. I happen not to agree with it, because I think the alternative of fighting for your rights within a state, the state you happen to reside in, is also an option. That was, for example, Gandhi's position. The Jews should have fought for their rights as equal citizens within the state that they reside in. But you can, I think reasonable people can say that as an alternative to fighting for the rights within your state, people might decide the struggle is futile or it's not worth it, and so we'd like to establish our own state. I could see that argument. But that is not really, that's not really the issue at stake here. The issue at stake here is, do those claims, do those historic and colossal historical injustices, do they justify the ethnic cleansing of the indigenous population of an area? And I think the answer to that is plainly no.
Do you think the answer would have been different in the colonial period?
The answer might have been different in the colonial period, but that's just saying colonialism is wrong.
Okay. All right. I'd like to read you a quote from the book Explaining Hitler by Ron Rosenbaum. He's referring in this quote specifically to Claude Lanzmann. He's French, I hope I pronounced his name correctly. a Paris-based filmmaker who created the 9.5-hour film